Sorry about that break. That's 2 breaks apparently. Essentially, as I've spoken about before, the camera decided to go all tits up on me, or as we call it, the Martin Fuller position. Basically, teams get to 40 points. They either really relax and play a natural game, or they'll think, oh, I'm going to be on the beach. I don't want to get injured. I don't want to get suspended. They don't put their effort in when it comes to defensively, and I think that can happen. And as me and Jeremy were talking about, passing wise, we were better in that last 10 minutes when we had both Huddleston and Carroll. And I don't know, Jeremy, as you're saying, with Huddleston, great on the ball, not so good on the ball. But with Carroll, I think, again, the size issue. Now, the thing is, size issue, you wouldn't say that about Xavi and Iniesta. You wouldn't think, oh my God, they're going to be knocked off the ball. Because they're about the same size. Obviously, Xavi's obviously a grown man, but they're about the same height. I mean, Xavi, Iniesta, Modric, Carroll, they're all about the same height, aren't they?
Well, even with build, though, I mean, Modric was a small guy, but his thighs and knees, I mean, he was actually a bit Messi-esque in ways. Like, he didn't get knocked off the ball easily. He could hold it, he could take a knock. Now, in fairness to Carroll, I actually haven't seen him be knocked off the ball that much. So, really, to be honest, I just need to see more of him. I know he can pass the ball, I know he can get it down and play. It's just a case of, can he make the difference for us? And he's not going to do it on his own anyway.
No.
But yeah, he could be useful. He's still very young. I don't know if Thursday night, in a really hot atmosphere in Switzerland might be the best start, but I don't know, maybe it's an option. I mean, Parker, Dembele, the crowd get on the case early when we're losing the ball. It happened right from the start of the season where we just, I think AVB makes us play a certain way where he says, hold possession. I think we do actually pass the ball backwards quite a lot, more than we have done before. I know Walker does it a lot, Dembele, I don't want to get into the Dembele backwards passes thing, but we do play the ball back quite a lot. But I think it's just about retaining possession, keeping the ball well. Yeah. And there always does seem to be a lack of urgency about us.
I think, personally, for me, Dembele, I can understand why, if you risk a forward pass, it goes wrong, you lose possession, you're better with the ball than without. But I think, and I can understand why he's playing conservatively, I can understand that 100%. But I think we have to start taking chances, It is essentially, I'm going to use a cliche of 8 cup finals or however you want to say it, and we have to go for it because, yes, I don't know, did you ever, who was your commentary? Was it ESPN? Was that your commentary you had on?
Yeah, ESPN, yeah.
Oh God, that was it, John Champion. He kept saying, a bale of chances. He kept, any chance he could use the word bale.
Yeah, it really annoyed me as well.
Oh God. Me. I don't know. Maybe he's been watching a lot of Adrian Durham or something. He's been watching Talk Sport a lot, just to how to irritate Spurs fans. But it was just a case of because I was at the game. Lewis Holtby, when a player has to go to the crowd, say, look, come on, give me more noise. We're meant to be the 12th man, but we are so quiet at times, and it irritates me no end that. There were people having a go at Adebayor and having a real go at him. Now, look, I'll have a go at a player when I'm watching it, on TV or on those streams, which obviously none of us ever use.
Yeah.
But when you're at the game, you're very privileged to be at the game. Don't be screaming at the players. It doesn't do anyone any good at all. And it just irritates me when when they're having a go at the players. I'm like, no, that doesn't help. That's just my opinion. And what do you think? Obviously, I think you were at the Lane, weren't you? You did a stadium tour, didn't you? And you were at the Lane, I think, less than 2-3 months ago.
I was at the last game. That was a West Ham game, the 3-2. So it was actually a cracking game to be at now. The Bale's last minute equaliser.
Yeah.
I remember Adebayor in that game missed a sitter of a header. He was right in front of my goal. And to be fair, now I think you could feel frustration and dismay, but I don't think anyone got on his back as yet. I don't think there was abuse or anything. I don't know. I don't think he's a guy that. He obviously plays off confidence. I think the early goal, like I was saying today, makes all the difference because it means that you can be more relaxed. There's not as much pressure on him. I still think he's a good player. I know there's some guys in Spurs forum that want rid. You don't turn into a bad player overnight. And last season, 18 goals, 12 assists. He was holding the ball up. He was creating chances. He doesn't have the same team around him anymore.
No.
He can still be a good striker. I know he's missed a few chances, but
the service is in there.
He can still come good.
The service is in there, and basically he had 4 people basically serving him. Essentially, you had Luka, Rafa, Bale, and Azza. 4 people. Just there's no way. I think and it was a very settled team. He'd come in and replace Crouchy. He's a lot more mobile than Crouchy, obviously, and he was just basically improving what we already had. He just gave us more of a cutting edge to that service. Obviously, we've lost Luca, which obviously none of us wanted. We've lost Rafa, which was kind of like, I think, mutual on both parts, but on all parties. And essentially, you've got a new manager, new ideas. He's having to rebuild the team in his own image. It's going to be, some players will work for me. Like JD was playing superbly, but it's kind of tailed off for him a little bit. And there are some players who I think have really come to the fore, like obviously Gareth Bale. I mean, he's having probably the best season he's ever had for us.
Sure, he is. He is.
So Jeremy, if you can think of your Spurs best 11 you've watched, or do you know what? Pick. What would you prefer? A best Spurs 11 you've watched, or a best Spurs 11 ever? I'll give it your choice. What would you go?
Well,
with?
now I must say, I've only been a Spurs fan since 1994, so I'd probably have to go from that era onwards.
Okay.
I don't know, and then a few clips from the past, but I don't know. It is a tricky one. I think it always seems dangerous because a lot of the players I pick are probably more modern players, but only because in my time supporting Spurs, these are probably the best we've been in the last couple of years. So I don't know, goalkeeper, you got to have Hugo Lloris, wouldn't you? Just the safest pair of hands. I know it's been half a season, but 25 years old, like world-class goalkeeper, so assured, so confident. And actually, as you were mentioning earlier, the ESP commentary team, or ESPN, yet again, the first goal has something like, I wonder what Brad Friedel have saved that effort. And you're like, oh, come on.
Oh, come on, Brad. I know, I mean, like,
just ridiculous.
One mistake. I mean, I'm not being bad. I mean, I love Brad. I love Brad Friedel. I think he's a great goalkeeper. But here's the thing. Against Basel, because we can't play that high line, okay, as well, and because, I mean, honestly, I thought he had lead in his shoes or something, because he refused to move from his line. It's very difficult to play that high line if the goalkeeper doesn't come off his line,
Yeah.
And I just think, for me personally, I would not start with. I know. I don't know if there's a deal going on, but for me, Hugo Lloris has to start against Basel on Thursday. If we have any hope
it's
of winning.
interesting. I don't think he will. I think it will be Friedel. In fact, I bet my house on it. It will be Brad Friedel on Thursday. It's the way he's done it the whole way through. And I kind of wondered because Lloris missed a game in the league.
Yeah.
The Swansea game. Would Lloris play? They might switch it up a bit, but I'd say it'll be Friedel on Thursday again. I mean, there's some absolute starters on Thursday. I'd say Walker will definitely play on Thursday. He kind of plays Walker whenever he can. But the rest of the team, I mean, to be honest, today's team kind of picked itself, didn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty much exactly what we thought it would be. It was a bit narrow, like we kind of knew it was, and I think that was the problem that, when the ball went out to Sigurdsson, or Dempsey, in particular Dempsey at all, they had to cut inside.
Yeah.
It was kind of, I think Sigurdsson actually did play well. He's looking a good player. He will be a good player for us over the next couple of years, I think, Sigurdsson. I like the look of him. And, he's somebody who gets in the box and follows up on chances. What we kind of expect Dembele to be doing, but he doesn't really as much. Dembele is the kind of guy who sits a bit deeper, glides past a couple of players, then knocks it on for somebody else.
Or knocks it back.
It's fine.
Yeah.
But, when he has a shot, he's got a decent shot on him, so you kind of wonder why he doesn't do it more often. I thought against Basel last Thursday, Dembele, a couple of times, just take the ball, and with ease, he has the strength to hold off players. He just knocks it past a couple of players, and I wonder, why doesn't he have it go a bit more often? He is good enough, and he is strong. He's got a good left peg. The space opens up, but we'll always pass it on. Play a bit like Arsenal used to a few years ago, try and walk it into the net.
Yeah.
There's nobody in that area. There's nobody in the 6-yard box to knock that ball in.
No, there's no one. There's no one there. There's no fox in the box really, just to turn and just slip it in. Let's face it. Arsenal, let's face it. Even when they had Henry, once they got in Van Persie, that made it a lot easier to play that elusive fox in the box kind of thing. Yeah. But obviously, I think Hugo Lloris definitely. As long as I've been looking at him, I think Hugo Lloris is probably the best keeper that I can remember. So yeah, he'd probably go into my best Spurs 11. So how about you? So right backs, who would you? What would you have?
Stephen Carr. Stephen Carr, straight off the bat.
Yeah, I'll go with that as well. Stephen Carr. It's interesting. I always think Stephen Carr. He's the reason I think Spurs and Newcastle fans really don't like each other that much. So I think.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember him going. I was very disappointed. It was nearly as bad as when Sheringham left.
Yeah, actually, because I'm going to join a big club, and then he joins Newcastle, and I'm like, they weren't even in the Champions. I don't think were they in the Champions League when he joined them. I don't think they even were they?
Not sure. No, would have been around. Well, maybe 2002 was it? 2003.
It was 2000. I think it might have been 2004 actually.
Maybe it was a bit later. Yeah, maybe.
I think it was the Santini era. Do you know that?
Hamero came in to replace him.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Yeah, Hamero, and then it was that young lad Stephen Kelly. So yeah, so Stephen Carr right back. That's a good choice. Centre halves.
Yeah. So obviously Ledley.
Oh yeah.
And the other centre half.
That's a tough one, isn't it?
It is a tough one.
There's an obvious one. There's an obvious one, but one we can never use, really, is there?
Oh yeah, sure. I probably would have to say that particular player, but I won't use his name for the purpose of this.
He who will not be named, but everyone knows who he is.
Maybe get Yunus Kabul to play it safe. God, where is he? Where has he been? When is he coming back? We really could do with him.
Oh, the injuries that poor guy's had. I mean, imagine missing Euro 2012, and then he's missed, I think, again, Newcastle. So they injure him, and he's been injured for most of the season. I mean, it's just not been great.
I think ESPN had mentioned that he was training with the Under-21s and was coming back, I think, on Monday. So, who knows, maybe he'll be on the bench for Thursday. It'd be nice to have another option centre-back, because I know Dawson is lauded as this saviour, but he can be done for pace. And I know he came on a couple of times against Basel on Thursday, and he looked dodgy as he was shaky, got beaten a couple of times. I mean, as did Jan Vertonghen, but...
Yeah. But Gallas was terrible. Gallas was awful, though. Gallas was so... Oh, no. So who would your left back be then? Who would your left back choice be?
I think Christian Ziege. Maybe not for quality, just for good memories of him. I liked him, the flying German.
Yeah.
I liked his style.
Do you know what? I'm not too sure, because left backs we haven't really been blessed. I mean, obviously the only left backs that come to mind really from that I can remember anyway are Ziege and Benny, and it's a toughie. I'll give you that.
So if you want to be cheeky about it, you could play Bale at left back and have Shinel on left wing, but I don't know if you can really do that.
No. So your midfield, the bedrock of any team.
Yeah, alright, go Shinel on the left wing.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, we go Darren Anderson on the right wing. That delivery.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Beckham
actually.
before Beckham. I'm saying it. It's out there.
Yeah. I'm not. I disagree with you there, Jared. The thing is, I remember that he was doing an interview about his injuries. But the reason I remember him more is because at the time when he who will not be named was talking about his contract. Okay, there were also rumours about Darren Anderson whether he was going to leave or not. And I remember the Sun or whoever was saying a lot of Spurs fans couldn't give a shit if Darren Anderson left because his contract was about to expire as well, and a lot of Spurs fans couldn't give a shit because he's been injured all the time. And in the end, he signed a contract, and he was still injured for the last 3 years. This poor guy, he's never got. I mean, honestly, he's one of those players. He's like our version of Kieran Dyer, really, isn't he? He just never seemed to get break the injury curse. But unfortunately, we weren't able to dump him on a couple of dumb schmoes to like West Ham to sign him. We're asking.
So I'm going a bit cheeky here. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play Sandro, the centre of midfields.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to play Bale in front of him.
Okay. In
front of Bale, I'm going to play Sheringham.
Okay.
And then in front of Sheringham, I'm going to play Berbatov, just edging out Klinsmann. But it's a bit of a 4-3-1-1-1.
Okay. But so no home for one of Ireland's greatest players, and you're a man you're a very big fan of.
You got to remember Shubes, like Robbie left for Liverpool. I mean, if you had met me at any time during that summer, and we had sold Berbatov, I mean, every taxi man that I got into was like a classic dub, classic Liverpool fan. Oh, they got it, mate. They got it in the air about that.
Oh God,
Robbie in Liverpool, and don't even get me started.
Oh no, I gotta admit, one of the things I look forward to so much is whenever I see you talking about Liverpool, that's something that always cheers me up.
I know, it's just bile. It explodes inside me. If you lived in Dublin, though, you'd know what it's like.
I've not
Liverpool fans.
I've been to Belfast, and when I was in Belfast, I was like, I thought everyone's a Man United fan in Belfast, so it's either Man United or Liverpool, isn't it? I don't know how it works.
In Ireland, yeah,
it's definitely that way.
Yeah, it's dark days.
So Basel, all right. So you're saying that you probably would choose Brad Friedel over.
Well, it's not that I would.
You're saying if AVB's going to choose him, so do you reckon he'll play? Yeah, I think. Do you know what? I'm hoping he does, and I'm hoping that he's flexible enough to say, because I think we need to be attacking, we need to have a higher line as possible, and really try and nick a goal on press. But I'm going to go with AVB. If me personally, I'd go with Hugo Lloris in goal. The same. I'd probably play Benny at left back. I mean, I don't know why AVB doesn't seem to rate Benny. I am a huge, because Benny was annoying at times because he can make some absolute clangers. But he doesn't have the best delivery. But pace-wise, I think in terms of left-back, in terms of tracking, I think he does a great job. And I'd rather have Vertonghen in the middle, just stepping out, rather than say, because I mean, I don't blame Corker, because that was some beautiful bit of wing play by Morales. Absolutely beautiful.
He's a good player. He's a good player.
Great player. But I think Corker, he's 20. He's gonna learn from every single game, because that was absolutely, he was spun like a top. By Morales. But and I think that's just credit to him. But I think I'd have Dawes and Vertonghen, because we've got like a 10-day break, and I think I'd go with Carroll, Sandro, and then not Sandro. Sorry, he's injured. Carroll, Parker, and then Bailey. I think you need a runner, a passer, and a destroyer. I think, and play Holtby and Sigurdsson off Addy. And hoping that Addy's and hopefully Addy's he's fully charged up and he'll want to do something. I just think, and that's what I'm going with. Obviously, I think what he'll probably do, as you say, as you agree, as you think. I think it will be Brad Friedel in goal, but I'm hoping he doesn't. So, see how it goes.
I wouldn't be surprised as well, although the fact that he rested Benny for this game might mean that he will play him on Thursday. But I wouldn't be really shocked if I saw Norton and Walker as the two wing-backs, just for the pace. They were fast.
They're fast, but Norton, he was... You know what? When I was watching that, I mean, because obviously at the lane you don't get to see the replays until the second, until like half time.
Yeah.
But Norton, I mean, it was a good bit of skill by that Swiss player to go through, and he caused all kinds of problems, and they went through the middle. But Norton, on the corner, we weren't tracking our players, and as a defender, your job is to, if you're not playing the zone, if you're playing, especially if you're playing a set piece, that's when there's a debate whether you play set zone or man to man. But when it's a corner, obviously, I think it's much easier to play man to man. And you cannot lose your marker, And I just think it's,
What's interesting, I'd say it's fine the team you play, and I'd quite like to see that team playing. I'd say realistically though, AVB will go for pretty much the same team that started today, with the exception of Friedel in for Loris and maybe Asuakato, and then Corker. So Asuakato at left back, and then Walker at right back. I'd say he'll play for Tongan, and then probably either Dawson or Corker.
Yeah.
I think he'll play. I hope he will probably play on the left, Sigurdsson on the right, and then he will play, I think, Dembele, Parker, and then Dempsey and Addy. I would say is the team he'll play.
4-4-2.
He seems to like Dempsey. He plays him. He plays Dempsey a lot.
Yeah, I mean, do you know what? I do like Clint. I mean, it's odd though. Clint Dempsey again. You mentioned Addy getting like 18 goals. Clint Dempsey got 17 goals last season.
This is it.
Great player. But do you know when we signed him, I was very underwhelmed. I'm sorry. I know it sounds really horrible, but I was very underwhelmed by it.
I thought he was a decent Rafa replacement, I must admit, because I only know him as a goal scorer. He was Fulham's main man. He cracked in a lot of goals, and he was good in the air, which we needed, because last season we didn't score a lot of headers. So I thought he just doesn't get into the box enough for me.
No.
He plays too much on the outside, and today he was almost non-existent, wasn't he? I mean, he wasn't in the mix today at all. I
think there were moments he did alright, but I just think that obviously he tried to do a Gareth Bale, and then was rightly yellow carded for it. But I just think he's one of those players, unless he's scoring, which I know sounds really horrible to say, unless he's scoring goals, he can become anonymous, I think. He's one of those players, and I just think, look, I definitely would say, if we're playing Basel next week, and if it's still, like, I don't know, let's say it's 0-0, then definitely I'd bring him on, because he might nick a goal for you, but I think I probably wouldn't start him next week. I probably would start with Carroll. I mean, when he brought Huddleston, I was like, are you kidding me? Huddleston, seriously? And then we try looking to bring on Carroll. I'm like, what's he going to do? Then you've only given him 5 minutes, And I really wish he'd make an early substitution, because I hate substitutions at 83 minutes, because there's 10 minutes. What the hell can you do with 10 minutes? Yeah.
Do you think we can win on Thursday?
I wouldn't. Do you know what? I've seen Spurs play really well one game, and then go to a game, which I think we should really, win and get our arse kicked, And there are sometimes we'll go and we'll go play a team where I'm thinking I'm going to get absolutely hammered, and we ended up winning. Like the Man. Let's face, let's say that Man United. Look, let's face it, that Man United game at Old Trafford. We were very lucky to come away with a win at that.
Definitely.
We don't say we parked the bus, but they hit us with everything they had, and we took our chances. And we defended more resolutely than parking the bus. But I think, do you know what? We'll go out there. We haven't got Bale. I think if we can get the passing flowing, and I think if he doesn't play, say, if we get the width from, say, Benny and, say, Carl Walker, and then you've got, say, if you get Dembele just not playing, because he's playing rather deep for me, playing a little bit deep. Yeah, having him, say, look, almost playing behind the striker, if that makes any sense, almost playing behind Addy. And then, so basically, you're either fullback has got 2 6-footers to aim at, If you're going to play wingers in the overlap, they've got 2 players to aim at, And then you've got Sigurdsson, Holtby, at the edge of the box, And I'd say just play almost Dembele in that free role almost, if that makes any sense. That where we normally play Bale, I'd play Dembele, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it's interesting because obviously in the Europa League, our away performances just haven't been good at all. So we had 3 draws in the group stages, I think. We drew with Lazio, we drew with Panathinaikos. We drew with Panathinaikos and we drew with Maribor.
Yeah.
We then went to Lyon, got a last-minute equaliser without playing particularly well in that game. No. Then obviously the San Siro. In the Premier League, however, we've got more away wins than home wins.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, is that reliant on Bale and Lennon as a counter-attacking football that we rely on in the Premier League that helps away from home? Are we just better set up to play away from home?
I think we're better set up to play from home. I think we're just better because I think if you're at home, the onus is on you. Your fans will get on the back of you to attack. Whereas obviously with this 2-2 thing, I think Zenit will sit. I think it'll be interesting because they all have the same dilemma that kind of we had when we went to Inter Milan. Do we stick or twist?
Yeah.
And I think I don't know. I'm not saying it'll happen, but I think that indecision it can haunt them because if you can get a player thinking in 2 minds, do I stick or do I twist? Especially if we get a goal. If we can get a goal and they bring it to 1-1 and then think, well, do you know what? We can sit on this. Or do you know what I'm saying? The thing is, I think if we go out there, we're relaxed. I think I'm not saying we are near the exit door anyway. So sure. We're near the exit door for this. So I think we might just go out all guns blazing. And
so I got to agree. And it's funny. It's something that's come up a lot recently. But since the 3-0 Inter Milan game, I want this trophy now. Before I was like, yeah, it's nice to be in it, but now I want to win it. I think it'd be amazing to be in that final in Amsterdam. And I think, I don't see why we can't just go all out for both. And I think these look like a good side. They do, and they passed well, really, really well. But all we got to do is go and win the game. I'd say one-off game, we just got to win it. 1-0 will do. And we can do it.
Do you know what? I don't. Do you know what? I'm arming and erring. I'm like, if we do win the Europa, I want to win it. If we're doing terrible, I'm like, I blame it for affecting our Premier League form. And I'm a terrible Spurs fan for saying it, but it's do you know what? This is the thing, and everyone's been saying it. It's about glory and everything. Do you know the Arsenal look great because if we want to take him over, apparently they've been offered £1 billion to take him over because they got like about 100 million cash. If they don't make the Champions League, that 100 million cash goes to 50 million. The Champions League, if you get into the group stages, and even if you get past group stages into the knockouts, is a guaranteed 35 to 40 million pounds a year. We're
talking about 4 games, 4 extra games. That's it.
I'm not saying 4 extra games. I think personally, if I had to choose, it's like this. When we play, because I had an argument with the guys in Spurs from saying, "Oh, it's European semi, got a good chance," and I'm thinking, yeah, look, I would love to, if we had the resources. If we had a great squad that we can do that, then yeah. But if someone said to me, "Shubes, what would you rather win? The Europa League game against Basel, lose the Europa League game against Basel but win against Everton, or win the Europa League game against Basel or lose against Everton?" I would choose to win against the Everton game. That's just me.
That's interesting.
I'm just saying to look, what would you rather? It's not a case of drawing because we've got 2 draws, which I don't think is any good for us. I think really, if you had a choice, lose one game but win the other, what would most Spurs fans go for? And a lot of them say, "Oh, it's about the glory. It's not about the money." Do you know what? I'm sorry, but I hear like the ex-Spurs players who are Mickey Hazard. I even hear like Cliff Jones and those guys talk about the glory. And yeah, it is about the glory, but it's UEFA. UEFA have devalued the Europa League. They don't put any money in it, and they don't incentivize teams to play their best teams because they don't. There's no icing on the cake. And I just don't get why you wouldn't put like a playoff position in Europa. Or let's say you start off like do you know when we played against Young Boys, just we start off on that one game earlier or something, or like make it like an Inter 2 bob, you have to play all the other games, so your preseason starts much earlier. But at least you've got that carrot then at the end of it, but there isn't there. I mean,
I suppose I suppose for me, it's just that I don't think the league is a long way to go yet. And I know last season we had those moments. We had the QPR defeat, the Norwich defeat, and we thought, this is it, it's over.
Yeah.
Now, I know, in the end,
it was
a
over.
disaster. But we did still finish top four.
Yeah.
And we didn't think we would. Because we forget that Arsenal and Chelsea can still slip up. And I mean, you look at the fixtures. I mean, Chelsea are, I know they won against Sunderland, right? So they're 2 points behind us with a game in hand.
Yeah.
But they've got to play Rubin Kazan in Russia on Thursday. They've got to play Man City. They've got to play Fulham away, Liverpool at home, Swansea, Man United, Everton. I mean, these are tough games. They're really tough games.
The reason that Man United, I'm not that worried about that for them, because by that time of the season, the only thing that will motivate, because Man United will probably won the league by then.
Probably.
And the thing is, the only thing that will prompt Man United to really play really well against Chelsea is because Ferguson hates Rafa. That's the only thing I can think of.
It's good enough for me, to be honest.
Yeah, I know it's good enough for you, but I just don't, because I remember, was it when Man United had to play West Ham or something, and you know that Tevez scored the goal, and even though they won the league, and even they said, look, we have to play well because there's teams around us, it's unfair to us, fair to them if we don't play our strongest team. But the Man United didn't even, they'd already won the league. It's so difficult, even if you got, and I can't imagine, even if they lost, I can't imagine Arsene Wenger, Alex Ferguson giving them the hairdryer treatment afterwards. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm just...
But equally, Arsenal are tricky games. I mean, they've got to play Everton as well. They've got to go to Fulham. They've got to play Man United, QPR away, Wigan at home, Newcastle away. I mean, it's a long way to go.
It's a long way to go, but I just don't want to... Thing is, when you're relying on other teams to slip up, I think that's dangerous. I think the future keep as much of the destiny in your own hands, and whatever happens, happens. So
sure, well, it is still in our own hands. I mean, we've got some tricky games. The City game and the Chelsea game now will be massive. I think a draw in the Chelsea game will be okay.
I think we can win at Chelsea.
City game,
I think we can win at Chelsea. I honestly think, because I really do think that we deserve a result against Chelsea. You know, we've had such terrible luck. We've had a goal. Do you remember that goal? We had a goal disallowed, a rightly disallowed goal against them when we played them at home last season. And if we'd had those extra 2 points, we'd have been third. You know, we then had the goal that never was, counted against us.
Mata in the cup.
Mata in the cup, and then Lampard the year before when Aurelio decided to let the ball go beyond him. Oh
yeah, the winner was offside as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Kalou?
Yeah, it's just we've never seemed to get a lot of luck against Chelsea, and I remember last season we battered them at the Bridge, and nothing. We hit the crossbar at least a couple of times. We just couldn't, we just didn't have the luck, and I just think, I'm hoping you with being in the Emerald Isle, you'll find some four-leaf clovers and some shamrocks and I don't know what you guys have, I don't know, Blarney stones? Is that? I'm gonna go with all the stereotypes. Yeah, but definitely, I'm hoping we can. Like I said, I don't want to be relying on, because we did that last season. It came to that day in May, Bayern Munich versus Chelsea, and we ended up relying on Bayern Munich. We ended up relying on another team to win, and I don't want to be doing that. Not again. Not again.
No, sure. But at the same time, I mean, it is still in our own hands at the minute. I just think it's too soon to be ruling ourselves out. I think you will get draws at this stage of the season. You can't win every game, and I don't think they was as bad as those people think.
No,
they're a good side.
Oh, they're a good
side. We didn't dominate them. We didn't really.
No, I thought we were lucky to get a draw. To be totally honest, they were kicking our ass all over the shop. They in the middle of the park. They were dominating. They kept hitting long balls over. Gallas couldn't cope with the forwards. I mean, for me, Gallas, I like William Gallas, but I think the fact that we got an extra year out of him was amazing. Yeah. And then we got 2 years. I think, was 2. I think 2 years of being greedy. 3 years. I mean, this. I'm sorry, but this. This poor horse. Needs to go into some burgers. Do you know what I'm saying? Because he just isn't going to be. He needs to go. Go to LA Galaxy or something. But he isn't the player he once was. I think he needs some time, and I just think he will. Hopefully, in a couple of years, because I think the experience he's shared with Cabal, with Dawson, Cabal has probably been such an improved player. I had my doubts about re-signing him when we did sign him back,
Yeah.
But in the 2 years that he's played alongside Gallas, I think Cabal has really, really improved, and a lot of that you can give that credit to Gallas. And I think even Kulkas, I think, has very much improved as well, purely because he's had someone of the experience of Gallas. But I think in the second half of the season, the physicality, I think Gallas is 35?
36, I think.
36,
yes. Well, I don't know, maybe 35, yeah.
So I just think, let's just, I thank him, but I think we definitely need to move on. And on that note,
let's look at it this way. Next home Premier League fixture, or the next fixture we have, Manchester City, we could have Bale back, Defoe back, Lennon back, Kabul back. You never know. It could be full strength.
Do you know what? That 10-day break is going to be. Do you know what? We've had a bit of luck with the international break, because we had that. Obviously, I'm not going to mention the team that you despise, but we had that horrible result against them, and then we had the Inter Milan, and we had that Fulham game, which I almost bought a ticket for that game. I'm so glad I didn't, because we were abject.
Well, that was a disaster.
I don't think we haven't played that. I don't think we played that bad since Wigan, and I don't think this game. I don't think we're playing that badly, because Everton only had about 2 or 3 chances. Really, they didn't have many chances, but they took their chances very, very well. Whereas we were great, but like I said, we couldn't play the incisive ball. But I'm hoping if Bale gets back, Lennon, I honestly do think, I think Basel, could be the game there. Because when Sandro first came to the club, the reason I was really chomping all about Sandro, and I was going, why is you've never seen this play-by-play? I said, the reason I was rating the guy so much was I saw intelligence in the way he played. When I saw him play, in the what are they, Copa Libertadores? Is that what they call it?
The Champions League of the South.
Yeah. But he didn't like jump into tackles, and there was a real intelligence about his game. And I just said, look, Sandro, trust me, he'll come good. And he didn't have the greatest games. Obviously everyone remembers that Carling Cup game, and I think there was a game against Bolton where Dawes got sent off. So Sandro was
it was just after the 3-1 against Inter Milan.
Yeah, we never seem to be able to get that luck with Sandro. And then he had some dodgy moments, but he had that one. For me, his defining game was the Milan game, and ever since
the Milan game, both home and away, both those games.
Both the games. But that home game though, he was like Spider-Man. He was wherever he just knew where to be, and I just think I would just say, do you know what, play Tom Carroll in there, because I just think everyone thinks, oh, we need to get Moutinho, we need this player up, play him. You know what? He'll either come really, really good, or he'll sink. But if you give this kid a chance, you saw against Arsenal, he's hungry, he wants the ball. We need to attack, and I just think without the width, we need creativity. We need someone that can help spread the play, because with Dembele, he's going to run it. With Sigurdsson, he's going to run it and kind of cut in and put it on his, and cross it.
Have a shot.
Yeah, have a shot or cross it. Tolby again will try and play those intricacies, those. Give and goes, but players on his wavelength yet. So we need a deep pass, and I think Carroll's going to be the man. But knowing my luck, he'll probably pick Huddleston, but we'll see how it goes. Anyway, Jez, I really appreciate you being in this YouTubes. You are the first citizen of the Emerald Isle.
It's been a pleasure.
I'm so sorry that my camera's fucked up and I had those full phone call interruptions and you heard me effing blinding. But I really, really appreciate you being part of the YouTubes. When I first started doing this, because I was just bored, honestly, and it just took a life of its own. And so
it's become a movement. It's
become a movement, and people. I mean, I've had a guy from the US become a fan of the show. He actually was. I don't know if you saw it. There was a guy from the US. He actually was on YouTubes.
I saw it. Yeah.
He just became a fan of YouTubes and said, "Look, can I be part of it?" And now you've had Dom, and now you've had your good self. So I really appreciate it. And if you ever want to be on YouTubes, please give me a shout. I'll
onwards and upwards, mate.
Onwards and upwards. And as always, come on, you Spurs. Please click on the ad links. And Jeremy, do you want to give a shout out to anyone? You can do.
Everyone on Spurs Forum. Good luck, boys.
Thanks. Come on, you Spurs.